You know, after 60, our bodies start to change in quiet, subtle ways often before we even notice. Many of my patients tell me, "Doctor, I just want to stay healthy, so I take all kinds of vitamins, calcium, whatever sounds good." And every time I hear that, I smile because I understand. They're just trying to do the right thing. But sometimes, what sounds right isn't exactly what the body truly needs. Today, I want to talk to you about something very familiar: calcium. You've probably heard it 1,000 times if you want strong bones. Take calcium every day. That's true, but it's not the whole story. Because when taken the wrong way, calcium can quietly turn from helper to troublemaker. I remember one of my patients, Diane, 66, from Florida. She came in feeling tired, sometimes with tingling in her hands and feet, and her blood pressure had been going up and down. When I asked about her supplements, she said, "Every morning I take 2 calcium pills, 1,000 milligrams each. My friends told me it's good for my bones." Her lab results showed her calcium levels were higher than normal, and even some mild calcification in her arteries. That really concerned me. The very thing she thought was protecting her was slowly hurting her heart. I explained to her that calcium doesn't work alone. It's like a river without the right flow. The water can flood and damage everything around it. Our bodies work the same way. To guide calcium to the right places, you need vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. Vitamin D3 helps your gut absorb calcium. K2 directs it to your bones and teeth, instead of letting it settle in your blood vessels. And magnesium keeps the whole system balanced and smooth. If one of them is missing, things go off track. I often tell my patients, calcium without D3 and K2 is like a convoy of trucks with no map. Sooner or later, one of them ends up lost. And those lost trucks, over time, can turn into calcium deposits in your arteries, making your heart work harder, raising blood pressure, and increasing the risk of stroke. Another patient comes to mind, Leonard, 72, from Oregon. He's an active man, walks every morning, eats well, yet he kept getting kidney stones. When we looked at his diet history, I found he had been taking high-dose calcium pills for 5 years, trying to prevent osteoporosis. So we stopped the calcium pills and switched to natural foods instead: low-fat milk, sesame seeds, leafy greens, sardines, along with a little D3 and magnesium. Within months, his kidneys stabilized. 2 years later, he still hasn't had another painful episode. You see, the problem isn't calcium itself, it's how we understand and use it. Yes, after 60, our bodies absorb less calcium, but that doesn't mean we should take more and more. What truly matters is sending calcium where it belongs and letting your body stay in rhythm. Think of it this way: if calcium is the cement that builds your house, then vitamin D3 is the worker who mixes it, and K2 is the engineer who makes sure it's poured in the right place. Without them, that cement might spill onto the driveway or block the doorway. Your body works just like that. A plate of greens, a handful of sesame seeds, some tofu, a serving of sardines, and a bit of morning sunlight — that's nature's most balanced prescription. And if your doctor recommends supplements, take a look at the label. Does it include D3, K2, magnesium? If not, you might just be swallowing a handful of lost calcium every morning. You know, sometimes good health isn't about adding more. It's about understanding better what you already do. Calcium is essential, yes, but it only works for you when you combine it wisely and listen to what your body's telling you. I always tell my patients, healthy living doesn't mean living without illness. It means being aware enough to know what truly helps your body thrive. So if you're hearing this today, maybe it's a good time to look again at those bottles on your counter. Because sometimes, just one small change, like skipping an unnecessary calcium pill, can protect your heart, your blood vessels, and the many beautiful years still ahead. Let me remind you of this: more is not always better. Let your body lead the way. And often, true health begins with something as simple as understanding. You know, after I talk about calcium, a lot of people nod thoughtfully and then ask me, "So what about vitamin B? Doctor, I've heard vitamin B6 helps with energy, sleep, and fatigue." And I can't help but smile because vitamin B6 is another double-edged sword. It's good, but only when you use it the right way. I remember one of my patients, Edward, 65, from Florida. He cared deeply about his health. Every morning, he took a senior energy multivitamin that he bought at the supermarket. He told me that at first, he felt great, more alert, less tired. But after a few months, his hands began to tingle, his muscles weakened, and he started losing his balance when he walked. At first, he blamed it on aging, but when we ran his tests, his vitamin B6 level was nearly 3 times higher than the safe range. Most people don't realize this. Yes, vitamin B6 is water-soluble, but when taken in high doses every day, it can still build up in your system. And after 60, your body processes and clears it much more slowly. That means instead of helping your nerves, it can start hurting them. I once told Edward, "Our bodies are like a symphony. Every note needs to play at the right volume. When one note gets too loud, the whole song becomes harsh." He nodded, paused for a moment, and said quietly, "I just wanted more energy. I didn't think it would make me weaker." The real problem is this: many energy boosters or multivitamins on the market contain way more B6 than your body actually needs. Older adults only require about 1.5 to 2 milligrams a day, yet some supplements contain 50, even 100 milligrams. Taking that every day is like slowly poisoning your own nerves without realizing it. I understand we all want to feel stronger, more active, and have enough energy to enjoy life. But the truth is, those energy vitamins can sometimes do the opposite. Another patient of mine, Nancy, 69, from Oregon, told me, "Doctor, my hands feel prickly. I'm unsteady when I walk, and I don't understand why. I only take vitamins." Her results were the same: B6 toxicity from months of overuse. So please remember this: vitamin B6 is not the enemy. In fact, it's essential. It helps your brain, your nerves, and your red blood cells. But it only works when taken in the right amount. If you're taking a multivitamin, read the label carefully. Check how much B6 it has. If it's more than 5 or 10 milligrams, talk to your doctor. After 60, your body doesn't need a lot. It needs balance and safety. Your body doesn't need artificial energy. It just needs you to understand and respect its natural rhythm. I often tell my patients, at 60, life isn't about moving faster, it's about walking slower, so you can move in the right direction. So before you take another energy pill, ask yourself, am I really helping my body or quietly making it more tired than I realize? You know, after talking with so many patients about vitamin B6, I've noticed something interesting. Many people believe that if something is a vitamin, it can't possibly do any harm. But the truth is, some vitamins, when taken the wrong way, can quietly work against you little by little, every single day. And one of the most common examples I see is vitamin A, the one everyone calls the magic pill for your eyes. After 60, I've noticed a pattern among my patients. They often tell me, "Doctor, I take vitamin A every day so my eyes stay sharp, my skin looks good, and my immune system stays strong." And I completely understand their intentions are good. But what most people don't realize is this: vitamin A, when overused, can slowly harm your liver, your bones, and even your heart. I remember a patient named Frank, 73, from Colorado. He came to see me because he had been feeling dizzy, had a poor appetite, and mild joint pain. His lab results showed elevated liver enzymes, even though he didn't drink alcohol. When I asked what supplements he was taking, he said, "Doctor, I just take one multivitamin and an extra vitamin A for my eyes." But when I checked the labels, I saw that each capsule contained 25,000 IU of vitamin A in the retinol form, far more than any older adult actually needs. Here's what many people overlook: retinol. The fat-soluble form of vitamin A doesn't leave your body quickly like vitamin C or the B vitamins. It builds up slowly in your liver, and over time, that extra for the eyes turns into a real burden for your body. After 60, your liver and kidneys simply don't process things as efficiently as before. That means anything taken in excess, even vitamins, can start to act like toxins. Studies have shown that long-term overuse of retinol can weaken your bones and even raise the risk of hip fractures in older adults, one of the most serious injuries at this age. I remember telling Frank, "Your body doesn't need more vitamin A, it just needs help using what you already have." He looked surprised, so I explained foods like milk, eggs, cheese, and even breakfast cereals already contain plenty of vitamin A. When you add high-dose supplements on top of that, your body doesn't know what to do with the extra, so it stores it in the liver. If you truly want to protect your vision, choose beta-carotene, the natural form of vitamin A found in carrots, pumpkins, spinach, and kale. Your body converts only what it needs and safely releases the rest. No buildup, no toxicity. I often tell my patients, natural vitamins are like the morning sun, warm and healing in the right dose, but harmful when you get too much. The same goes for vitamin A. You don't need to swallow more pills, just add more color to your plate. A little orange, a little green, a little red. That's the smartest, safest way to nourish your eyes and your skin after 60. Because sometimes good health isn't about adding more, it's about knowing when to stop. After 60, the real danger isn't what we lack, it's what we have too much of without realizing it. That's true for vitamin A, and it's just as true for iron, a tiny mineral that can quietly throw your body off balance from the inside out. You know, it's funny, after I talk about vitamin A lot of people ask me, "So what about iron? Doctor, I've heard it helps with fatigue and anemia. Older folks shouldn't be low on iron, right?" And yes, iron is important, but anything important, when misunderstood, can become a burden. I remember a patient of mine, Martin, 70, from Seattle. He was very careful about his health, the kind of man who reads every label and follows every wellness trend. Every morning, he took a multivitamin plus a 65 milligram iron pill. He told me he'd read online that iron helps boost energy for seniors. But a few months later, he started feeling heavy and bloated. His skin took on a yellowish tone, and his blood tests showed something alarming. His iron levels were more than twice the normal range. His liver was already showing early signs of iron overload. That reminded me of something most people don't realize: iron doesn't leave the body easily. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, it slowly accumulates in the liver, heart, and pancreas. And once it builds up too much, it begins to damage those very organs, harming liver cells, stiffening blood vessels, even affecting memory and increasing the risk of Alzheimer's. It may sound extreme, but I've seen it happen many times over the years. For older adults, especially men and postmenopausal women, the body no longer loses iron naturally, like it once did through menstruation or small injuries. So taking daily iron supplements without medical guidance isn't just unnecessary, it can be dangerous. Too much iron can oxidize the tissues in your heart, slowly weakening it without you even noticing. Many people think they're anemic, when in reality, they're just low in vitamin B12 or folate, not iron at all. I often tell my patients, too little iron can make you tired, but too much iron can quietly drain the life out of you from the inside. The wisest thing you can do is get your blood checked regularly. If your results show you have enough iron, let your body handle the rest naturally. Get your iron from real foods: lean meat, fish, eggs, beans, leafy greens. Those sources give your body exactly what it needs, no more, no less. Remember this: after 60, good health doesn't come from adding more and more. It comes from knowing when to stop and trusting that your body already knows what enough feels like. You see, when it comes to health, what harms us most isn't always what we lack, it's what we overdo without realizing it. And that's not just true for iron. It's also true for another nutrient many people call the secret to staying young: vitamin E. After I talk about iron, I often hear the same question. So what about vitamin E? Doctor, I've heard it's a great antioxidant, keeps your skin young, your heart strong, and helps you live longer. And I smile, because I understand we all want to hold on to a little bit of youth, even if it's just through a tiny capsule. But what most people don't know is vitamin E has its limits too. I remember a patient named Donna, 69, from Arizona. She came in one day with bruises on her arms, and she couldn't remember bumping into anything. Her blood test showed that her blood was thinner than normal. When I asked about supplements, she said, "Oh, I only take vitamin E. My friend told me it's good for my skin and heart." I checked the label. Each capsule contained 1,000 IU of vitamin E, but an older adult only needs about 15 to 20 IU a day. Vitamin E truly is a powerful antioxidant. It protects your cells from damage, but in high doses, it can actually interfere with blood clotting. That means more bruising, internal bleeding, and even a higher risk of hemorrhagic stroke. The irony is, many people take it to protect their heart. Yet studies show that long-term high doses of vitamin E can actually increase the risk of heart failure in older adults. I told Donna, vitamin E is like an umbrella. On a sunny day, it protects you, but if you open it in a storm, the wind can tear it away and take you with it. The truth is, your body probably already has enough vitamin E if you eat a variety of foods: olive oil, almonds, sunflower seeds, avocado, leafy greens. Those natural sources give you the right amount, along with other nutrients that help your body absorb and use it wisely. High-dose pills, on the other hand, are like trying to force your body to do something faster when all it really needs is rest, balance, and nourishment. I want you to remember this: good health doesn't come from fighting time. It comes from living in harmony with it. Vitamin E isn't your enemy, and it isn't a miracle either. It's just one piece of the bigger picture. And when you learn to appreciate the balance your body already holds, you'll realize something beautiful. Age doesn't take away your light. It simply teaches you how to shine with wisdom. You see, on the journey to better health, the things that hurt us most don't always come from illness sometimes. They come from doing too much of something that seems good. And that story doesn't end with vitamin E. There's another little mineral one that's often praised for boosting immunity, but can quietly cause harm if we don't understand it well. That mineral is zinc. You know, in the world of supplements, zinc is seen as a kind of quiet hero, something everyone thinks is completely harmless. I often hear my patients say, "Doctor, I take zinc every day to keep my immune system strong, avoid colds, and keep my taste sharp." And they're right. Zinc is important. It helps your body fight infections, heal wounds, and maintain healthy taste and smell. But what most people don't realize is zinc also has its limits. It's like a good friend. If you invite that friend over too often, eventually they might take up space meant for someone else. In your body, that someone else is copper. When you take too much zinc for too long, it blocks your ability to absorb copper. Over time, that can lead to anemia, fatigue, and even nerve damage. I remember a patient of mine, Eugene, 72, from Utah. He came to see me because his hands and feet felt weak and tingly. Food had lost its taste, everything seemed bland. His lab tests showed unusually low copper levels and zinc levels almost double the normal range. When I asked what supplements he was taking, he smiled and said, "Oh, just an immune booster I bought at the store. Each pill has 50 milligrams of zinc. I figured more can only help." Right. The truth is, older adults only need about 8 to 11 milligrams of zinc a day, but many immune support products contain 30, 40, even 50 milligrams. Taken daily, that extra zinc quietly builds up, disrupting your body's mineral balance from the inside. The result: low copper, poor taste, nausea, fatigue, the very symptoms many people blame on aging, when in fact they come from those healthy zinc pills. I told Eugene, "Your body is like an orchestra. Zinc plays an important note, but if it's too loud, the whole symphony becomes noise." He paused, then smiled softly and said, "I just wanted to feel stronger." I didn't realize I was throwing everything out of tune. We adjusted his routine, stopped the high-dose zinc, added natural sources of copper like seafood, whole grains, and leafy greens, and used a much smaller, balanced amount of zinc. A few weeks later, his sense of taste returned, his appetite improved, and his energy came back. I want you to remember this: zinc isn't bad, but your body doesn't need it forced into every single day. If your meals are varied, a little lean meat, eggs, seafood, pumpkin seeds, beans, and vegetables, you're already getting what you need. And if you ever decide to take more, remember that enough is always better than too much. Because after 60, good health isn't just about fighting disease. It's about keeping your body balanced, steady, and in harmony with itself. And sometimes, what makes us weaker isn't the lack of vitamins, but the excess of faith in those tiny pills we never really needed. You know, in the world of vitamins and minerals, the line between enough and too much can be surprisingly thin. And that doesn't just apply to zinc. Even something that seems completely harmless, the so-called king of immunity, vitamin C can quietly cause trouble if you overdo it. I often tell my patients, when it comes to your health, there are no shortcuts to lasting strength. That's true even for something as familiar and friendly as vitamin C. People love to call it the hero of the immune system, and honestly, it deserves the praise. It helps you fight off colds, brightens your skin, and helps your body heal faster. But like any hero, if you expect too much, there's always a price to pay. I remember one of my patients, Ruth, 72, from Idaho. She came in with a dull stomach ache, a burning sensation when urinating, and occasional nausea. When I looked at her supplements, there it was, a big bottle of megadose vitamin C. Each pill contained 2,000 milligrams. She laughed and said, "Doctor, I just wanted to boost my immune system. Winters are so cold here." But her test results told another story. Her kidneys were starting to form oxalate crystals, the very first signs of kidney stones. She was shocked. She had never imagined that something good could quietly turn against her. I explained that when your body gets too much vitamin C, the extra amount turns into oxalate. And when that oxalate meets calcium in your urine, it crystallizes slowly, silently, until one day, it hurts. High doses of vitamin C can also upset your stomach, bloating, diarrhea, cramps. Instead of feeling energized, you end up feeling drained. The truth is, your body only needs about 200 to 500 milligrams of vitamin C a day for a healthy immune system. Anything more simply gets flushed out in your urine. It's like pouring more water into a glass that's already full. It just spills over. It doesn't make the water better. I told Ruth, vitamin C is like the morning sun, gentle and healing when it's just enough, but stay under it too long, and it can burn you. She stopped taking the high-dose pills and went back to natural sources, fresh oranges, kiwi, and red bell peppers. A few weeks later, everything returned to normal. She smiled and told me, "I'm not afraid of winter anymore. Doctor, one glass of orange juice each morning is all I need." You see, vitamin C isn't the problem. We just forget that nature already knows how to keep things in balance. Your body doesn't need super doses or power pills. It just needs patience, moderation, and a little trust, because balance has always been the best medicine. After 60, staying healthy isn't about fighting time. It's about living in harmony with it, gently, fully, and at peace. You know, after I talked about vitamins that can do more harm than good when used the wrong way, many people ask me, "Doctor, is there any supplement we really should take every day? Something that actually helps us feel stronger, live better without the side effects?" And my answer is yes. There are some, but not many, and more is definitely not better. After 60, our bodies are like a garden that's seen many seasons. The soil is still rich, but some nutrients have slowly faded with time. If we care for it the right way, just a little, at the right time, in the right place, that garden can still flourish, full of strength and life. And today, I want to start with the first friend on my list of 7 nutrients worth adding after 60: vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 isn't just another vitamin. I often tell my patients, D3 is the sunshine of aging. When we're young, sunlight gives our bodies a natural way to make D3. But as we grow older, our skin becomes thinner, and our ability to produce D3 drops sharply. Many older adults also avoid the sun, afraid of fatigue, high blood pressure, or skin spots. The result, more than 70% of older adults in America are low in vitamin D3, and most don't even know it. I remember a patient of mine, Edward, 72, from Illinois. He came to see me because his back and knees ached, and he felt weaker when walking. He said, "Doctor, I eat well. I drink milk every morning. Why do my bones still feel fragile?" His lab results showed that his vitamin D3 level was half of what it should be. So we started him on a combination of D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. A few months later, he came back smiling. He was sleeping better, felt more upbeat, and his joints were stronger. I told him, D3 doesn't just build bones. It lifts your mood. It helps you feel lighter, more alive every day. He laughed and said, "You're right, doctor. I don't wake up tired anymore." So why is D3 so important? It helps your body absorb calcium. That's the part everyone knows. But what most people don't realize is that without K2 and magnesium, that calcium can go to the wrong place, building up in your arteries instead of your bones. That's why I always tell my patients, D3 opens the door for calcium, K2 shows it where to go, and magnesium keeps the rhythm steady. They work together like three musicians in perfect harmony, and only together can they create true strength for your bones, heart, and brain. Are you low on D3 without knowing it? If you often feel tired, achy, or just low in spirit, you might be. That's why, after 60, I always recommend this: spend at least 10 to 15 minutes in the morning sun when the light is still gentle. And if that's not possible, take a D3 supplement around 1,000 to 2,000 IU a day, or whatever your doctor recommends. And always remember, pair it with K2 and magnesium. That trio helps calcium find its right home in your bones, not in your arteries. I like to remind my patients, after 60, sunshine doesn't only come from the sky, it comes from how you care for yourself. Vitamin D3 is that sunshine. It keeps your body steady, your heart strong, and your mind warm. So each morning, instead of rushing through your pills, take a moment by the window, let the sunlight touch your skin, let your body wake up naturally. Because sometimes real health doesn't come from a bottle, it comes from quiet, peaceful moments like that. In short, vitamin D3, when combined with K2 and magnesium, builds a strong foundation for your bones, muscles, heart, and mood after 60. A small, steady dose can change how you feel every day, from tired to light, from dull to vibrant. So let that sunlight, whether from the sky or from a tiny D3 capsule, remind you of this truth: age doesn't make us weaker. As long as we keep nurturing the light within ourselves. You know, when I tell people that vitamin D3 works best with magnesium, many of them ask me, "Doctor, is magnesium really that important?" I usually smile and say, if D3 is the sunshine, then magnesium is the rhythm of life. Because every single cell in your body, your heart, your muscles, even your brain depends on magnesium to stay steady and balanced. It helps your muscles relax, keeps your heartbeat regular, improves sleep, and calms the mind. But sadly, magnesium is one of the most overlooked nutrients for people after 60. Many older adults are low in magnesium without realizing it, partly because they eat fewer greens, and partly because certain medications, like diuretics, acid reducers, or blood pressure pills, flush magnesium out of the body faster. When that happens, the body feels like a song that's lost its rhythm. You might notice muscle cramps, shaky hands, trouble sleeping, a racing heart, or even unexplained anxiety. I remember one of my patients, Margaret, 69, from Washington. She came to see me because her legs cramped every night, especially while sleeping. She said, "Doctor, every time I start to drift off, my calf seizes up so hard it wakes me." Her test results showed she was low in magnesium. We started her on a gentle supplement and added more magnesium-rich foods: pumpkin seeds, spinach, oats, soybeans, and a little dark chocolate. A few weeks later, she smiled and told me, "I slept straight through the night, and I woke up feeling lighter than I have in years." I told her, magnesium is like the quiet conductor of your body's orchestra. When it's in balance, everything your heart, your muscles, your nerves plays in perfect harmony. Studies have shown that the right amount of magnesium can improve sleep, lower blood pressure slightly, and support heart health in older adults. But I never tell my patients to take large doses because with magnesium, the magic is in moderation. I often say, you don't need to turn your body into a science experiment. Just eat a variety of foods, leafy greens, nuts, oats, and if needed, take a small supplement, about 200 to 400 milligrams a day. Your body will handle the rest. In the end, real health doesn't come from adding more and more. It comes from keeping your inner rhythm in balance. And magnesium is that rhythm, gentle, steady, and quiet, but when it's just right, you can feel the peace in every breath you take. You know, if magnesium is the rhythm that keeps your body running smoothly, then omega-3 is the soundtrack of your mind, gentle, steady, and deeply essential. I often tell my patients, after 60, the most precious things aren't just a strong heart, but a clear mind and a peaceful spirit. And omega-3 is one of those rare nutrients that nourishes both the heart and the mind at the same time. Omega-3s, especially the two key types, EPA and DHA, are true gifts for your cardiovascular health. They help reduce inflammation, lower bad cholesterol, and keep your blood vessels flexible and young. I remember one of my patients, Charles, 71, from Maine. He loved the ocean and said he ate salmon or sardines every week and never skipped his morning spoonful of flaxseed oil. When he came in for his annual checkup, his heart numbers were so good I had to laugh. I said, Charles, with results like these, your heart's probably younger than mine. He grinned and said, Doctor, I think the secret isn't in the pills, it's in the fish. I grill every Sunday. And he was right. Large studies show that people who get enough omega-3s have a much lower risk of stroke and heart disease. You don't need a high dose, just 2 servings of fatty fish each week, like salmon, sardines, or herring, or a good quality fish oil supplement can make a real difference. But omega-3s aren't only for the heart. DHA, one of its main forms, makes up almost 20% of the brain. When those levels drop, memory fades faster, focus becomes harder, and moods can shift, leaving you anxious or down without knowing why. I think of another patient, Helen, 68, from Michigan. She came to see me not because she was sick, but because she was afraid. She said, Doctor, I've been forgetting things lately. I'm scared I'm really getting old. So we adjusted her diet, more salmon, some walnuts, and a small dose of fish oil each day. 3 months later, she came back smiling. She said, I remember things better now. I sleep well and I just feel happier. There was no miracle there, just nourishment. When the brain gets what it needs, the spirit begins to heal too. Many studies confirm this. Omega-3s can help reduce the risk of depression, support better sleep, and keep the brain thinking young for longer. I often tell my patients, our bodies are like the ocean without water. They dry out, without flow. They grow still and heavy. Omega-3 is that flow. It keeps your heart beating in rhythm, your memory clear, and your mind at peace. So don't go searching for the secret to staying young in fancy bottles or miracle pills. Sometimes it's right there in a simple piece of grilled salmon, a handful of flax seeds, or a quiet meal shared with family. When you nourish your body with these simple, natural things, you're not just protecting your heart, you're keeping your mind bright and your spirit calm, no matter how many years go by. You know, after we've cared for our heart and mind, the next thing we need to protect is the source of energy that keeps us moving every day. And that brings me to a little inner flame in the body, vitamin B12. I often tell my patients, if omega-3 is the gentle current that keeps your memory flowing, then B12 is the flame that keeps you alert, focused, and full of life. Because vitamin B12 plays a key role in making red blood cells, supporting the nerves and keeping the brain sharp and steady. But here's what many people don't realize after 60. A large number of adults become low in B12 without even knowing it. Not because they eat poorly, but because their stomachs naturally produce less acid. And that makes it harder to absorb B12 from food. And so, little by little, that inner flame starts to fade quietly, slowly. I remember a patient of mine, Richard, 70, from Nevada. He used to be full of energy, walked every morning, read books, tended his garden. But one day he said to me, Doctor, Lately, I feel tired all the time. Even after a full night's sleep, my head feels heavy, and I can't focus like I used to. We ran some tests, and his B12 levels were much lower than normal. So we started him on small, under-the-tongue B12 tablets. A few weeks later, he came back smiling and said, "My mind feels bright again, like someone turned the lights back on. I'm back to walking, reading, even gardening." I smiled, because that happens often. B12 deficiency doesn't always make loud symptoms, but it quietly drains your energy, dulls your memory, and sometimes causes tingling in your hands or unsteady balance. Many people mistake it for just getting older, when really, they're simply running low on that spark from B12. What I usually tell my patients is this: get your B12 checked regularly, especially if you eat mostly plant-based, or if you take stomach acid or diabetes medications. And if you need to supplement, choose sublingual tablets or injections. They're the most effective ways for older adults to absorb it. You can find B12 naturally in eggs, fish, dairy, and lean meats, but sometimes food alone just isn't enough. And what matters most isn't how much you take, but how well your body can actually use it. I often tell my patients, your body is like a home. If vitamin D3 is the sunlight and omega-3 is the cool breeze, then B12 is the warm fire in the kitchen. It doesn't shout for attention, but without it, everything feels a little colder. After 60, you don't need a long list of pills to feel well. You just need to keep your light, your breeze, and your inner flame in harmony. And that little spark vitamin B12 is what keeps you awake, joyful, and full of energy, no matter how many years pass. You know, if vitamin B12 is the flame that keeps your body warm, then coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10 is the tiny power plant inside every cell, where your body's real energy is made. I often tell my patients, you can eat well and sleep well, but if your cells aren't producing energy, you'll still feel tired like a phone that runs out of battery even after charging all night. The truth is, after 50, our natural levels of CoQ10 start to drop, and they drop even faster if you're taking statin medications for cholesterol, which many older adults do. That's why so many people feel fatigued, lose endurance, or notice their heart feels weaker without realizing their body's battery is slowly running low. I remember one of my patients, Alice, 67, from Arizona. She used to love her morning walks, but over time, even a short stroll left her breathless. She said, "Doctor, I don't understand. My heart tests look fine, but I feel like I'm running on empty." When I reviewed her chart, I saw she'd been on statins for almost 5 years. So we added a small daily dose of CoQ10, about 100 milligrams of the ubiquinol form. 3 weeks later, she came back smiling, her eyes bright. She said, "I can walk farther now. I sleep better, and my mind feels clearer than it has in years." I told her, CoQ10 is like the spark in your engine. It helps your heart beat strong, your brain stay sharp, and your body keep the energy it needs to enjoy life. Science supports this too. CoQ10 lives inside every cell, but it's most concentrated in the heart and the brain, the organs that need the most power. Supplementing with CoQ10 can ease fatigue, support heart function, and even help with focus and short-term memory. You can find small amounts in foods like fatty fish, liver, beef, and nuts, but after 60, those amounts often aren't enough to keep your cells fully charged. That's why one small supplement a day can sometimes make a surprisingly big difference, helping you feel powered up again. I often remind my patients, your body never truly shuts down, it's just waiting to be recharged. And CoQ10 is that quiet recharge nourishing every heartbeat, every thought, every breath. After 60, you don't need to run faster or do more. You just need enough steady energy to live each day fully, to walk with confidence, to smile deeply, and to feel your heart still beating with life. You see, after we've recharged our batteries with CoQ10, there's something just as important, making sure that energy goes to the right places. And that's the quiet but brilliant job of vitamin K2, the body's silent guide. I often tell my patients, vitamin D3 opens the door for calcium to enter, But K2 is the one that takes it by the hand and leads it exactly where it needs to go. The body is an amazing thing. It always tries to heal itself. But when nutrients go astray, the consequences show up slowly and very, very clearly. When calcium isn't guided properly, it can build up where it shouldn't in the arteries, heart valves, or soft tissues instead of where it belongs, in the bones. That's when problems like stiff joints, high blood pressure, or arterial calcification start to appear. I remember a patient, Thomas, 70, from North Carolina. He had been diligent for years, drank milk, took calcium, and never missed his D3 supplement. But recently, he came to me complaining of knee pain, stiff joints, and mild calcification in his arteries. When I looked at his regimen, it was clear he was getting calcium and D3, but no K2 at all. So we added a small daily dose of vitamin K2 MK7. After 3 months, he said his knees felt looser, his legs lighter, and his artery scan showed real improvement. He smiled and said, "Now I get it, just taking calcium doesn't mean my bones get stronger." And I told him, "That's right, calcium is the building material. D3 opens the door, but K2 is the architect. It makes sure everything's built in the right place." You might be getting more K2 than you think. It's found in aged cheeses, eggs, butter, and especially in natto, a fermented soybean dish from Japan. But since not everyone enjoys natto's flavor, a small daily MK7 supplement is an easy and effective alternative. It absorbs well, and you only need a tiny amount. Research now shows that combining D3 and K2 is a golden duo for people over 60. Together, they strengthen bones, keep blood vessels flexible, and help the heart stay steady and strong. I often tell my patients, the human body is like a symphony. D3 brings the light, and K2 brings the harmony. Only when both play together can we feel truly balanced and well. After 60, caring for your bones isn't just about taking more calcium. It's about understanding how your body works so that every cell, every vessel, every heartbeat moves in the right direction. Because sometimes, good health isn't about having more of everything inside you. It's about helping everything within you find its rightful place. You know, after we've helped calcium find its way with K2 and taken care of the heart, brain, and bones, there's another system quieter, but deeply connected to nearly everything in the body. That's your gut. I often tell my patients, your gut isn't just where food gets digested, it's the root of your entire health. And the tiny helpers that keep this system running smoothly are called probiotics, the friendly bacteria in your gut. These little living organisms are like loyal gatekeepers. They help you absorb vitamins and minerals, digest food properly, and most importantly, keep your immune system strong. But after 60, that gut ecosystem begins to weaken. Eating fewer vegetables, taking antacids, antibiotics, or diabetes medications over time can all throw your gut balance off. When that happens, you might feel bloated, constipated, or just tired for no clear reason, even if you're eating well. Sometimes your skin looks dull, and your energy fades without explanation. I remember one of my patients, Paula, 71, from Idaho. She came to see me and said, "Doctor, I hardly eat much, but my stomach always feels full and tight. I'm tired all the time, and my skin looks so dull." We ran some tests, and it turned out her gut bacteria were badly out of balance. So I started her on a daily probiotic one that included lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, along with a few simple changes, plain yogurt, kimchi, and more green vegetables. 3 weeks later, she came back with a big smile. She said, "I feel lighter, my digestion is better, my skin looks brighter, and I'm sleeping so well." I smiled and told her, that's your inner garden coming back to life. Because a healthy gut doesn't just help digestion, it boosts your absorption of B vitamins, magnesium, and iron. It also supports brain clarity and heart function. In fact, with about 70% of your immune cells live right there in your gut. So when your gut is balanced, your whole body becomes more resilient. I like to say, if your heart is the conductor then your gut is the orchestra in the background. When the music there is in tune, everything else in your body flows more smoothly. After 60, take care of that inner garden with small, simple habits: a cup of yogurt in the morning, a meal with fresh greens, a gentle walk, and a genuine smile. Because sometimes real health doesn't come from expensive pills. It comes from how you nurture each cell, each breath, and even the tiniest living friends working quietly inside you every day. And if there's one secret to living well and joyfully after 60, it's this: keep your gut and your spirit calm, balanced, and full of life. You know, Nate, when I look back at the journeys of my patients, people who once struggled with fatigue, sleepless nights, or aching joints, and later found their spark again, I realized something important. True health isn't about how many pills you take. It's about how you care for your body and the quiet choices you make every single day. The 7 nutrients we've talked about: vitamin D3, magnesium, B12, omega-3, CoQ10, K2, and probiotics are not just medical terms. They're companions for this stage of life, each with its own role, its own gentle rhythm. D3 brings the light, K2 shows the way, magnesium keeps the beat, omega-3 calms the mind, B12 rekindles your energy, CoQ10 recharges your strength, and probiotics nurture life from within. When they work together, your body becomes a complete symphony, balanced, graceful, and full of vitality. After 60, we don't need to fight time. We only need to flow with it, to understand it, and to walk alongside it peacefully. Age doesn't take away your strength. It teaches you to appreciate the quiet moments: each sunrise, each deep breath, each warm cup of tea by the window. I'll never forget one of my patients who told me, after her health began to improve, "Doctor, I don't need to live forever. I just want to live deeply so every day feels worth it." And I think that's the most beautiful definition of health I've ever heard. Your body, no matter how many years it has carried you, still knows how to heal. It just needs the right conditions: a little sunlight, a good night's sleep, a simple meal, and the nutrients that truly matter. It doesn't have to be perfect, just consistent, gentle, and done with care. I often tell my patients, after 60, the goal isn't to feel young again, it's to never lose the joy of living. Because when your mind is at peace, your body will find its own way to recover. So whether you're 60, 70, or beyond, remember this: your body is still listening to you. Every healthy meal, every mindful choice, every quiet smile is your way of whispering to life, "I am still here. I choose to live well, to live joyfully, and to live fully." And if this message has touched you, share it with someone you care about. Because sometimes one small act of kindness today can help someone feel stronger tomorrow.